Do you want to see a really awkward video of me? It's a video when I was a little bit younger. It's in the description below. It's me before my prime, I should say. This is me, how a normal, you would expect an INTP to be and behave. And I just wanted to share it with you guys. It's on another channel that I have, and it's really old, a long time ago. And I just want to have you guys see the difference and show that, hey, there's been a change since then. It is a really awkward video. I just watched it and I cringed. But anyway, I'm answering a question by Aiden Link. I like your name. His question is, I got a question. What's the difference between an INTP and an ENTP? I took multiple tests and got a mix of these results. I am very outgoing because I gained tons of social skills as a kid. Many would call me outgoing and charismatic, but I prefer to be alone. I would rather spend an evening alone in my room than at a friend's place. Because of this, I'm leaning more on INTP inside, but I like to I like to be outside. Well, I just missed it. But I like to go outside. Opinion on this. Oh, punctuation can save lives. All right. And then he had a comment later on by another. So Doom Guy replied to him, and then Aiden's response was, when I am around people, it really depends on my mood whether I'm very social or not. When I'm around close friends, though, I'm usually the center of attention, and that's what got my attention. So, Aiden, you are probably an INTP, and you and I probably share this attribute, because when I am around just people that I don't know very well, I find myself being very secluded most of the time because there are certain group dynamics or connections that people have, or if everyone is like brand new, there's a little more ability to be able to connect and to have people open up to you. That always helps. Whenever I'm in a group with people that doesn't know anybody, they kind of give you a fair chance. But if they know somebody, they're not going to give you that fair chance because they already know somebody and now they're comfortable. And I mean, you're cool and all. You can hang out if you'd like, and then just there's this obvious wall that they don't recognize that they put up. So I also sometimes if I'm in that center of attention, I try to draw people in to get everyone in a group and feeling comfortable, because I know what that feels like when those walls get put up when other friends are involved and people that you don't know are in the room. If that makes sense. So there's a good chance that your parents might have been or extroverted, and that's probably, if you're saying why people might think you're charismatic and stuff, you might have been around people that just that's their livelihood. That's how they understand things. I grew up with introverted parents, and so I have a little bit more of an introverted, I guess, mindset, or just that's my parental experience. My parents are my experiment, and they've gone terribly wrong. And so I wouldn't doubt that might be a factor potentially for why you might be experiencing that charismatic side. But the center of attention, the thing is there for me personally, I don't know if this connects to you as well, but when I am with other friends that I am completely comfortable with, and they understand me and they know my quirks, but I feel grounded, and in a way I almost feel like I'm in control too. I can do things and kind of expect the result of what would happen. If you act silly or weird or be vulnerable around people you don't know, you don't really know what will happen. You don't know what the repercussions may be. They might think you are from the devil, or they might think you're freaking awesome. And that's a bargain, or not bargain, whatever, roll of the dice that sometimes I'm just not willing to, just because I'm not willing to experiment with it because I don't really have the emotional drive to just try it out and figure out how they would respond. But if you're around people that you do know, I find myself, I know how they're going to respond. I feel very grounded, solid ground. And so if I at least have one person I know very well in a group of people I don't know, I can become that charismatic individual, and people be like, what? I guess sometimes I would go by myself to certain groups, and I'm the secluded guy, just like, I literally sit like this. Sometimes I rock back and forth, and when I'm speaking, I always talk like this, and like, I almost purposely try to make myself weird so that I don't even really know why I do that. But if I am with somebody that I'm very comfortable with, I'm just totally open, and just allow myself to be who I am, and there's that confidence there. So I'm curious if that's kind of what your thing is. I guess that it doesn't really answer the question between INTP and ENTP, so let me just kind of briefly go over that. And so INTPs, yes, they're going to find themselves a lot more observant of the circumstances around them without actually diving in on their own choice to just to talk to people. They want people to introduce themselves to them. ENTPs will probably just dive in and just start talking from just ENTPs that I know in the past. They don't really have those relational, I don't know how, I was about to say relational barriers, but it's just like our INTPs, in those circumstances, we feel extremely vulnerable, and we can feel every wave of just emotion. I don't want to call it emotional, but we're just hypersensitive to everything that happens in social gatherings when we're very uncomfortable and we don't know anybody. And so INTPs will favor more on that. They want to observe the environment. They want to see what kind of people are there. We're analyzing what kind of folks are there, what kind of groups are there, and just seeing how people behave. That's kind of the natural point that we would want to take a hold on. ENTPs will probably not be in that same category. They would want to, well, they're extroverted, so they'll jump right into it and like, hey, how you doing, blah, 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 and just talk really fast. As most ENTPs I find myself into, they just talk really fast. It's really hard to hold their attention unless you're the only one with them. But yeah, so there's a good chance, I resonate that you probably are an INTP with maybe even with some extroverted parents that help you with those things. But I'm in the same boat sometimes, as you were talking in your comments, that I've had that experience as well. And so hopefully it helps you, Aiden. I guess stick around, and we'll figure this life out together, this craziness. I'm leaning over a silly, not silly, it's just I'm leaning. Why am I leaning? I'm like way over here like, hey, what's up? Love me. I'll see you in another video, another life. You never know. Bye.